Coming to you from his studio in downtown San Francisco, this is the Backstage Bay Area podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Hey everyone, welcome to Backstage Bay Area. I'm Steve Roby. Michael Lee is one of the most visible and wide-ranging creative figures in modern music, a 5-time Grammy winner, founder of Snarky Puppy, leader of Bucante, and the force behind Ground Up Music. This week, his musical world takes over the SF Jazz Center as he serves as a resident artistic director, curating a 5-night run of performances that range from intimate duos to collaborative ensembles, alongside a listening party and a soundcheck conversation. Throughout this residency, Lee brings together longtime collaborators, including Bill Lawrence, Antonio Sanchez, Pedrito Martinez, Corey Henry, Becca Stevens, and members of the Secret Trio, each night spotlighting a different dimension of his creative life. Michael, welcome to Backstage Bay Area.
Thank you very much.
It's great to have you here and in San Francisco for this residency at SF Jazz.
Thank you. Yeah, super excited to actually be able to hang out for more than a night.
I should say. Before we get into the individual shows, I want to start with the residency itself. You're not just coming through town for a single concert. This is a full week at the SF Jazz Center with multiple projects, different collaborators, and even a listening party and soundcheck conversation. When SF Jazz invited you to serve as a resident artistic director, what excited you most about the idea of presenting your music this way as a multi-night, multi-project portrait instead of a single snapshot?
Well, I think all musicians are much more than what we think they are. I mean, or artists in general, or humans in general. It's our nature as people to want to define human beings by one thing. That's the person from this restaurant, or that's the person from this movie, or that's the person from this band. But
Sure.
I mean, most people who dedicate their lives to a craft are much more versatile than we kind of give them credit for. And
Right.
because we just have so much information bombarding us every day, it's just easier to kind of think of, oh, that's the person that whatever plays saxophone and wears the hat or something.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that all of my friends who are musicians, they might be famous for one thing, but they do so many other things at the same level, or even better. It's just that one thing is what became most visible for one reason or another. And rather than kind of leaning into that kind of monolithic concept of what an individual musician is, I really like the idea of challenging listeners to open themselves up to the fact that musicians do a lot more than the one thing that they're known for.
Right.
So for me, Snarky Puppy was never my my end game. When I formed the band and when it was coming up, and even as I was working all day, every day for that group, at night I'd be playing, at a jazz club with musicians in Dallas, or I'd be doing a recording session with a pop singer, or singing background vocals with a singer-songwriter, or whatever. And it just happened to be that Snarky Puppy eventually became visible. So yeah, people started thinking of me as like Mr. Snarky Puppy, but before Snarky Puppy, during Snarky Puppy, and now, I've always been doing lots and lots of other things, and so I think this residency format, allows the opportunity to show the diversity of things that I'm interested in, and that I spend my time doing. And for me, it's a much more fulfilling thing than just kind of bringing a single project.
So when you look at these nights collectively, what story are you hoping audiences walk away with about where you are creatively in 2026?
Well, first off, I think that I hope that they will be impacted just by the diversity of what's happening, and not just musically, but like in terms of the kind of artists that are going to be coming to the center during those, 4 or 5 nights of concerts. I mean, we have musicians from Mexico, from Cuba, from Turkey, from Macedonia, from Brooklyn, from North Carolina, from the UK. Like, just that alone, I think, is an important, and that alone, I think, is an important and powerful statement right now in 2026, just to show how vital foreign musicians are to the health of the United States' musical culture, because we're in a moment right now where immigrants are being vilified,
Right,
and like
right.
this idea that, that the United States is white people and all this stuff, and it's like, I mean, the United States' music scene has always relied on immigrants and or people of color to provide it with like the backbone of what we do musically. I wouldn't even say the backbone. I would say like 95% of the skeleton, of what we do
Yeah.
is coming from either abroad or from, minority communities within the US. I think that's powerful in and of itself, just to show how, and it's not even a thing that like, I didn't even think about that. It's just like, that's how omnipresent, that influence is. It's that you don't even have to think about it for it to be that way. But I like that there's going to be so much contrast from night to night, both musically and kind of demographically, in a sense.
Yeah. Well, how much of the residency is about showing your different sides of your catalog, but how much of it is about where you're actively headed?
Oh yeah, I mean, completely. I chose those 4 projects specifically because they show different sides of who I am as a musician and different kinds of people that I work with. But also, I think doing these things, which I'm also doing right now at the Blue Note for 3 weeks, and bringing 10 or 11 projects to the Blue Note over 18 nights, I think that this kind of is the future for me, in terms of engaging in the music scene, kind of maybe a bit more as a curator and facilitator,
Right.
And a person that's kind of like like a designated hitter in a way, like an auxiliary person who can come in and play guitar and sing if that's what's necessary, or play oud, or play key bass or bass or whatever, and not be the central figure.
Sure.
I mean, I'm a bass player by trade. My first my primary instrument. So I think I have a bass player mentality in the sense that I really like to kind of be behind the focal point, supporting it, and trying to make people sound their best.
Absolutely.
So I mean, yeah, I feel like for me this is kind of like the future in a sense, maybe disassociating myself slightly from Snarky Puppy in the sense that it's not the only thing that I do, or even the primary thing that I do. It's just a thing that I do, and just kind of bringing people together and creating unique, bespoke musical experiences. I think that's kind of where I'm heading.
I like it.
Thank you. Me too.
Michael, in a few minutes, we're going to listen to one of the projects you're bringing to this SF Jazz residency. The first track I'm going to play on the show is called Obacoso from Ellipsis, your collaboration with Antonio Sanchez and Pedrito Martinez. The song was built from rhythmic improvisations and then shaped into a composition. When a piece with drums, voices, and ritual energy instead of harmony, how does that change the way you think as a composer and a band leader?
Oh, wow. I mean, the experience of making that Ellipsis album was very, very unique. It was the only time in my life that I've made a record in this fashion, which was essentially putting Pedrito and Antonio in the studio together and just having them improvise for several days with just tempos and nothing else. And then Pedro would sing over their percussion improvisations, and then they would just send me everything. I was present during their sessions via Zoom. I was in Spain and they were in New York because this was during the pandemic.
Right.
And then they just sent me all of this stuff, all of these improvisations with vocals over them. And then I essentially just like played Frankenstein's doctor, and cut things up, deleted things, copied things, pasted things, moved them around,
right.
Composed chords, over what Pedro's saying, and like kind of doctored these things into songs, which was fascinating because, in a way it was like the songwriting process came after the recording process, in a sense, which normally 99% of the time the opposite is the case, right? You write the songs and then you record them.
Sure.
But in this case, it was done oppositely, and really a really fascinating process for me that I had never been a part of. And as a result, I think we got a really interesting, different kind of product.
Yeah. Well, let's listen to it now. This is Obacoso here on Backstage Bay Area.
Chango como foribale escuchando lo mío. Chango como foribale lo mío. A la de la kila do la wa la uba ochire. Buruta kwamo wi bam 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 lo lu oka eri. Oka lo me ile ikuo lo duma. La do kuni kofi aya eji la tembora o bara lubia la lumbe ay la oni bara cherere ada chere agua que se lembe o cuente cuela kuichumi cuela que chocho chango lo lobo kini wana ni nani chango adeka o bara lubia la lumbe el luego si on sign Chango como foribale escuchando lo mío. Cabio sin le chango o barai dum dum. O balube o baki y ya mi agua. Y ya mi agua o coro y coro longo culagua. Ayagua tibilo yuero banle o banla o Kawo cambio si leo o bai bosiere o
That was Obakoso, and I'm here with my guest, Michael League, on Backstage Bay Area. Michael, this week opens not with a concert, but with a listening party and a conversation at SF Jazz. What do you enjoy about these listening room settings where the focus is less on performance and more on context, process, and conversation?
You know, I think it's really fascinating, first off, for audiences to kind of experience artists without that barrier of the proscenium, you know? Like, it's one thing to go to see a show and you have this band that has rehearsed and they go on stage and they do this thing that they do, you know, where there's expectations about how the show is going to go and how it's going to be presented. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a show, you know? Even if it's a highly improvised thing, there's still, for me, like this element of like the stage is above the audience, you know, in a sense, kind of metaphorically, you know, if not physically. And what I love about these kind of chats is that that wall just immediately gets, you know, demolished. And you're really like, you know, on the same level as the audience. You're having a conversation with them. There's the opportunity for you to present them with things that they would never have exposure to during a gig. You know, it's a very, very intimate format for an artist and an audience to engage in. And I really love that. And also as an artist, of course, you get asked questions that then make you learn things about yourself or about your industry that you had never thought about. So I really adore those kinds of situations.
Right. When you step into a listening party like this, what do you most want people to hear between the notes?
Oh, you know, I don't really go into these things with an objective because I have no way of knowing where the conversation's going to lead. You know, I don't know what they're going to play.
Okay.
Questions people are going to ask. But I'll say that the thing that makes me happiest in these interactions is when I feel that the audience leaves with the idea that the artist is not so different from them. You know, that for me is like, it's not my objective, but I think it's a thing that naturally happens when the conversation really opens up, that we're all doing the same thing. We're all artists and none of us are at the same time, you know, and that like, it's not some kind of superpower that we have. And I think that when people come to that realization, they become inspired to do whatever it is that they do with more confidence and with more joy. And just like with anything artistic, I think we should always be leaving the building questioning who we are and going deeper into what it is we do, but also feeling good about ourselves, inspired and joyful and motivated to kind of like engage in our daily life with more joy and motivation.
And I'm sure San Francisco will have some great questions for you too.
They always do, yeah.
So the second track I've chosen takes us back to a piece that helped define Snarky Puppy for many listeners. When you hear Lingus now, years after it entered the world, what does it represent to you about who you were then and what you've carried forward into the work you're presenting this week?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, Snarky Puppy is just like one project that I've been a part of, rather than like the project. You know, of course, it is my band and I worked harder for it than I've worked for anything else, but it's still just one thing. I mean, in the same way, Lingus for me is just like one song that I wrote for Snarky Puppy that, for a variety of reasons, became our first kind of point of contact with most of our listeners. Yeah, I mean, I think comparing that, which we recorded in 2012 or 2013, to what I'm doing now and what Snarky Puppy is doing now, which I think the band has matured greatly since then. You know, I mean, it's still a fun song, you know, and Corey's performance on it is amazing. But it's like for me, it's like looking at college photos. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, that was me, you know, but it was a long time ago, you know, and I'm really grateful that that song has had the success that it's had.
All right.
Because it's attracted so many people to what we're doing now, which I believe is, you know, deeper and more nuanced and more serious in a lot of ways. But it's fun. You have to embrace your past and understand that you only are where you are because of what came before.
Absolutely.
So it's not a thing that I'm like trying to like shun, but at the same time, it's not a thing that I don't exactly watch it every night before I go to bed, put it that way.
Let's step into the Wayback Machine and listen to it now. This is Lingus, and we'll be back on the other side to talk about Michael League's concerts at SF Jazz. That was Lingus, and this is Backstage Bay Area with our guest, Michael League. Michael, let's talk about the concerts you've lined up at SF Jazz. When you were shaping this week, did you think like a festival curator or a band leader or a storyteller?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, all of those things, but in another way, none of them. I mean, I think that's just the result of, the nature of bringing different projects that I love to one place. Like what you mentioned, those are all consequences of it. I was thinking more of what can I offer someone who wants to come 4 nights in a row that will leave them inspired and satiated, like in the way that when you go to have like a 4 or 5 course meal, the chef, thinks very seriously about how to satisfy kind of every element of the dining experience. I wanted to provide diversity and of course, high quality to that setting. And I think that, we have some of the greatest musicians in the world coming through SF Jazz that week. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
For someone who might only be able to attend one of these nights, what would you want them to know before they walk into the room?
Well, I think that no matter which night someone attends, I think they're going to be surprised. I think that all of these projects offer very unexpected things musically. They all, even within themselves, are very versatile and diverse and go through a wide variety of emotions and colors, during the set. So I think, the most opposite projects maybe are like Bill and I, Bill's and my duo, and maybe Ellipsis, which is like futuristic, folkloric, Cuban, psychedelic, music. I think that even, those two shows have a lot in common, that there will be a wide range of textures and colors and compositional approaches and improvisational approaches expressed.
Yeah.
So, I think surprise maybe will be the key word.
It's going to be hard to pick out just one show to see.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So let me remind our listeners, Michael League is SF Jazz's resident artistic director for this week, with concerts and events running January 29th through February 1st at the SF Jazz Center in San Francisco. Full details and tickets are available right now if you go to sfjazz.org. Michael, thanks so much for taking the time, and I'm really looking forward to your shows this week at SF Jazz.
Thanks so much. Me too. Take care.
All right. Backstage Bay Area, we'll be right back.
Are you a jazz musician preparing for a run in San Francisco? The Backstage Bay Area podcast wants to help tell your story. We are currently filling our guest lineup with the artists keeping the jazz scene alive. If you have dates booked at a local club or concert hall, let's get you on the mic to discuss your latest work. Connect with us directly. Send an email to backstage.sfbay@gmail.com. Just let us know when you'll be playing in San Francisco. That's backstage.sfbay@gmail.com.
Backstage Bay Area is dedicated to keeping jazz alive in the 415 by spotlighting the artists, presenters, and venues that sustain this music. The most meaningful way to support local jazz is simple. Show up, buy a ticket, and experience the music live. Visit BackstageBayArea.com and explore our upcoming concerts section, featuring both a weekly guide and a weekend guide to jazz shows across the region, plus the latest concert news. Thank you for keeping jazz alive in the 415.
You've been listening to the Backstage Bay Area podcast. Visit us on the web at BackstageBayArea.com. And don't forget to keep jazz alive in the 415.